actually slept at Startup Lab last night. That's how hard they've been working. Rolf, close your ears, you didn't hear that. So, this is a project about my home. This is Virginia. This is a 200-year-old home. Started renovating it about a year ago. This is the summertime. Everything's going great. But winter is coming. In the wintertime, I started getting these bills. $465, $75, $900. That's not my rent. I own the house. That's my heating bill. Just gonna let that one sink in. That's where we come in. We're Heatgrade. Our job is to prevent costly, environmentally harmful heat loss. We call this the invisible problem, because when I look at my house, I don't see where that money's going, but I know it's leaving because I'm paying those bills. We're here to solve that invisible problem. So right now, what would I do? I'm going to go to our good friend Google, and I'm going to start looking for contractors, people who know more about it. And they're going to come in, they're doing an invasive survey. They're going to come into my house. Then I have to take them at their word. So if they say, John, you need a new roof, I need a new roof. If they say you need to replace your chimney, I need to replace my chimney. Then I have to pray that they're not lying. There's a better way to do this. Now, with Heatgrade, I can check my Heatgrade online instantly. I'll be able to see suggested improvements for how to improve my home, so I go in with ammo for my first contractor conversation. Then I can actually verify whether or not what the work they did is saving me money and energy. Then I'm going to save money, not pray. So here's how this actually works for me. Get onto the website, I can see a thermal image of my home. I've got my Heatgrade over there, 81's pretty good, but I can see there's some problems. I can see my chimney needs to be closed, that's an easy one. I can see my windows have to be replaced. I've got to insulate my door frame over there. You'll be able to see both a cost savings and a carbon savings. So you can see both right here on the site. Then, once you know what you're going to do, we'll connect you to reputable contractors who know how to do it. This is how this works for us. We have a subscription fee for the contractors to get on the site, and a fee per lead. And this is a proven business model for energy efficiency installations. So each lead that they get will be a phone number, my number in this case, my name, my address. We'll go directly to them, and then they'll reach out to me. So why does this work? Contractors can have their sales increase by up to 78% just by using this tool, because homeowners are 78% more likely to do something about their heat inefficiency after seeing that image. So how big is this? The global energy efficiency market is one of the fastest growing markets out there, expected to grow by about 60% to $360 billion worldwide over the next 10 years. So let's get into the technology for this one a little bit, because I think it's pretty cool. We have both a sky view and a street view. The data that comes from each house goes into a machine learning algorithm, which can tell, based on the type and the size, what kind of heat loss you're experiencing and why. Here's an example. From our street view, you can see we've got windows, doors, all that need replacing. See that same image that will come afterwards because we're doing continuous data circulation. We'll be able to see that that contractor actually did the job well. So why would you work with us? This is a relatively new field, which is great. But there are a couple competitors in it. SS, based out of Boston, has raised $18 million in venture capital. They're focused on utilities. Well, a utility may or may not want you to save money that you're paying the utility. So we'll see about that. They do one-time surveys, as does MyHeat, which is based out of Canada. They've been focused on governments, helping them meet their baselines. They also do one-time surveys. We think a much more scalable model is focusing on consumers. We can make sure that people are saving money, saving energy, and trusting the tool using continuous data. Alright, I've been up here about 5 minutes now. You guys are probably sick and tired to hear about me. This is the rest of my team. I'm a 4-time entrepreneur and I've done a bunch of government work as well. But we've got Abhi, an energy consultant based in London. You'll see them all in a minute. Carbon, an urban planner based in Penang. Azad, product engineer from Pakistan. And Akshay, 3-time clean energy founder in his own right from India. So, before I close, I'm very excited to announce we do have our first customer. This is Positive Energy. It's a local Norway-based company, and we've got a potential contract with them for $15,000 a year to get this data for the buildings that they're studying. We've also got our first write-up in Fast Company, a US-based magazine. We've cast our pilot at about $75,000. That's the minimum we're looking for today, and we are looking to do an equity exchange. That pilot would involve testing the data and hiring our machine learning engineer to help us make sure the algorithm works just right. So to close here, I think this is the most important slide, and I hope you agree. A lot of energy efficiency companies are out there to try to get you to do things differently. You should stop consuming that. You should unplug your phone. You should do this. You should do that. We're trying to increase the impact of your already existing habits. That makes this much more powerful. Our SDGs that we focus on, affordable clean energy and sustainable cities, is where this makes the most impact. We can save up to 33% of CO2 emissions expelled by buildings by solving heat waste. So remember, winter is here. So trust Heatgrade this year. Thank you.
So I think you're going to get this question a lot, and it wasn't so clear in the presentation. You kept saying continuous data or continuous collection, which tells me you're scanning people's houses without them knowing it, or that was what if I'm growing something in the attic? What I have privacy concerns. Like what? Tell me about that.
Yeah, thanks for that. I'm Avi, by the way, and that's a great question, of course, and we're anticipating that. So we wanted to approach this problem from a community perspective. And we looked at municipalities and communities actually having their own CO2 emission reduction targets. And energy efficiency is one of the cheapest ways to address this. And as such, we spoke to a couple of communities. I've done some work in Scotland. And we got the idea of actually using garbage trucks. Because they go in the community, and they're usually owned by the communities, and varies. And they go to pretty much all households. And the type of technology that we're trying to use is something that if we can adjust the frequency, we don't actually see inside the house. We see the temperature at the wall level, at the surface level. So there are privacy concerns, and we actually spoke to some from SANS about that day before yesterday. But it's not a red area. It's more of an area where we can adjust that. And if we partner with communities, which we have spoken about, and they're open to do so, it's something that is definitely manageable from what we've discussed.
Okay.
So, can you come home today? This is a terrific idea, and I think there's a real market here. A couple of things I didn't fully understand, and it's perhaps connected to Sean's question too. So how do the technology actually work? So there is a sensor that needs to be on the street level. Can you talk a little bit more about kind of how that's going to be deployed and how it actually reads the building? And then what's happening in terms of the roof. It's also interesting that there are a number of startups in Norway now utilizing the fact that here we have open APIs in a lot of the building data, like SpaceMaker or Tool and so forth are using that. Might be a way for you to think about Norway as an early market, and then you have a customer.
Thanks so much. These are great, because we're just getting the questions that we wanted to get, because it's hard to explain all of this in the presentation, and feel free to come to us and get more details after. So, exactly like you said, there's so much kind of data that we need to get the calculations that we look to get. We're looking at thermal technology that's really advanced in the last 4 or 5 years. It's come down by 400%, I think, in terms of cost. And there's low-range cameras, and then mid-range cameras, and then high-range cameras, where you can get the type of static and movable images to get this kind of the surface level temperature. Then you use a system called LIDAR, which actually detects the type of objects that are in front of the house and actually makes you able to discern the house from its environment. Then you can use more satellite data, because there's already thermal cameras up in the air, well, in space, and they detect low-resolution images from rooftops. Like you said, there's so many APIs that now governments are actually publicly giving out to use for the materials of the wall. And it's all about aggregating this in the most optimal manner and getting the type of efficient calculations that we can get. And companies have proven to do this, but they're not doing this at the rate that is consumer-centric and scalable at all. So that's where I'd like to come in, and we can talk about that further.
Right, give them a... Okay, do you want to say something last? Okay.
Adding to the fact that there is something sensors known as push broom sensors, which are not right now available like in a majority across the globe. So when we talk about the dynamic motion of the drugs, this push broom actually helps in calculating dynamic with a more resolution, better accurate, and better precise.
Shay is the expert.
Okay, last question, then we'll get to the last team.
No, first of all, I mean, energy efficiency, it's great that you're working on that. It's really one of the main business opportunities, also as identified by Better Business and Better Goal. But I have a question for you. If you succeed here, how are you going to get the customers to really buy this in a way? I mean, we've seen from companies like SolarCity, and of course they've had success, but it's still, you know, even with proven savings and whatever, how are you going to get really the customers on board? Because this is still kind of an investment they have to make.
I'll answer that one really quickly. I will be our first customer. Sorry. Because for two reasons. One, I'm losing that money, and two, people are renovating their homes constantly. And as our generation, we're all here tonight, grow up and start buying homes, which I know in Norway starts at like 16, you buy your first home here. As we start doing that, we care about this stuff a lot more than my parents' generation did. And so that's going to be something we're thinking about and information we're going to want. So as that happens, that's going to be a major focus for them, so they're going to want to renovate in the most green way possible.
All right, thank you so much to Team 2.